Hello everyone. I was reading a Q&A by Francis, and she has said that different forms of art can shape a person's life or their view of life. And that is true in my first book, Drawbridge, Drawing Alongside My Brother's Schizophrenia, Caitlin Press, in its 10 personal essays, each with a poem, from free form to blank verse to form poetry. The poems reflect, distill, or compress the bigger braids of story and research. So this is going to be from chapter 8, Fixative. It's a mixed sense sestina, a 6x6, with a pattern of recurring end words. Make sense sestina. I never knew who you were talking to, yet Irish bards seem to know, shamans with intuitive brains, with eyesight fading. Glaucoma needs no hint, for stigmatism to abound. Disorder leapt out of bounds in piles of clothes and paint cans too, that kept me out, gave you a hint, an idea of how to know when antagonism was fading. Healing fragmented brains. Sorry. For all the anger, disturb brains, loss and paranoia know no bounds. In a logical speech, far from fading, you find your vital clue to configure and compose. No time for a model hint. No time to pick up the hint of common sense brains, expressionistic kernels you did know. Through hand-picked tools, seeds abound, studying the line, the shade, to trowel the din within, fading. The dis, the miss, the ill, the in are fading. The unreal and irrelevant hint undoes the glue to reduce delusional brains to precious abounds, the way well water is drawn and known. And so, no need to know of the waning, the fading, when colorful splashes and black outlines abound, a serene and sure hint that consolidated our brains to complete the whole. We too, Pollock, Matisse, and Van Gogh did know the telling hint of fading line, color, and space ingrained that resound dimensionally like an old tattoo. That's from Drawbridge, Drawing Alongside My Brother's Schizophrenia. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan.
This is, the title of this is Odin's Eye for Knowledge. And you will recall that Odin, Norse god, gave one of his eyes in return for knowledge. So it goes. Tell me, Odin, would you have done the deal for knowledge of past, future, near and far if the promised insight had required both eyes? Some might be willing, on casual reflection, to let smell go and maybe even one ear, but not an eye. And most of us, before signing, would have stopped, suspicious of the offer. Did you not think what else you would be losing to get this unbearable hoard of knowledge? For creatures in time, what delight is left if you know the end with the beginning? All hope would be amputated from your life. And without hope, how could even a god have enough courage to get through the day? You knew that Fenris Wolf would be released, and you'd be ground bloody in his great teeth when Ragnarok was fought and all was lost in fire. And how could you face getting up in the mornings, knowing how Balder, your beautiful son, would die? In awe, we still catch glimpses of you on stormy evenings, leading the wild hunt of the dead across the winter sky.
Hey everyone, I'm Amy, and I'm going to read 3 poems for you. One is a sort of choose your own adventure poem, and I posted in the group chat that I'll read later if you want to kind of follow along. The first one is called Summoning. If only I could transfuse your blood into my cavernous veins, blue catacombs, would-be aquifers that beg from thirst that licks their dust. You see, I am a sham, no shaman, no roll of bone dice in a skull cup, just the rattle. Could I conjure your curiosity to lean your ghost over the balcony, to cast your ken back to the gull-white sea that waits below? I want the baptismal deep bathed in your vision. My words are dry, this page brittle. And then the next one is called Morning Haiku. Locked sunshine whimpers behind the thick, heavy shades. Not another snooze. And then the last one is the Choose Your Own Adventure. I posted the link, so I'll just read one version of it. It's called Parable. Will you write until the rain turns blue? Roses are red and rue their dark petals, curling into dark, cruel lips, pinching our U-shaped smiles. This ring tarnish-bitten, flickers of memory. Say you remember, imagine the rest. Draw it in like 1,000 pages turning one way, circling white windmills, weaving air. But when he looked at you, hooking onto your smile, there was no way to be a fish thrown back into storied waters. Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity. I'm going to read a poem that describes a forestry field school that I had in Okanagan. And it draws upon elements of Jewish liturgy in which the Sabbath is welcomed in on a Friday night as a bride. And it's called Ponderosa Pine. Pinus ponderosa, 3 long needles, bright green, cones with sharp pricks. The bark thick and plated in orange-brown hues, dark fissures between. I found a piece sloughing off an old giant, its surface metallic, thin plates layered and pressed to form its thickness. It helps to survive fire. Charred bark dissolving fingers, healthy within. The pine grows on the slopes of the mountainous western states, extending a finger into Canada's Okanagan, where we searched for woodpecker feeding holes and pine beetle exit wounds. As we studied the effects of healing fires, the injury still fresh, 5 years old, cracks in the charring and oozing pitch. The older scars, decades old, on the hill slopes above camp, showed windows of bare sapwood and bark creeping, curving over to hide the past. A short time before dusk, I climbed a hill, following the line of gold and fire-red aspens, to sing, Come My Beloved, towards the bride, to receive the face of Sabbath. The red and gold disappeared as the skies darkened, by whose word dusk settles and the constellations turn, who created day and night and rolls away light from before darkness and darkness from before light. And when my prayers were done, I gladly re-entered that other world of warm student dining halls strewn with beer cans and cutlets. Now just a short piece coming back to the coast. Thick roots of western hemlock drape over the sides of a red cedar nursery log, wrapping themselves around the substrate in which it sprouted 7 times. Love, severity, compassion, perseverance, compromise, connection, receptivity. And when the cedar log returns to the forest floor from which it came, the roots will remain suspended above the ground, connecting the head to the heart.
I chose a cheerful poem. A memory from about 20 years ago, but I wrote it recently. With no invitation. No one phones the cousins. We don't announce our coming. No one seems concerned. We trudge, it seems hours, over dry hills of the Algarve in Portugal. Some of us already seniors. We arrive at lunchtime, and I'm worried as we sit on their deck by the creek. We didn't phone. We have no invitation. There are 5 of us. It's lunchtime. A small white truck enters the lane with its horn beeping. We have fresh fish. The cork tree had just had bark harvested. A date is written in white paint. The next harvest, not for 9 years. I take a photo by this tree. 7 cousins are smiling. One has leaned her crutch on the trunk. Beside the driveway, there's a small building, another bañero with its own bidet. How well we are received this day in the Algarve, when we have come with no invitation at lunchtime. And can you see that? Just a moment, I'm going to.
Lower.
I don't know how to get rid of my poem, so there you go.
Bring it towards you.
Towards me.
A little further.
Yeah, and up a
Up.
bit. A little bit more over the frame of your glasses.
Going up, 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 up.
Good.
Thank you for being so patient.
Hello, everybody. It's been great so far. I love Poets Corner. Thank you for all to make this happen again. A note about this poem. I wrote this poem when I was about 17 or 18. I found my late musician lover's lyrics in a box, and I added and detracted for this sort of duo. It's probably a work in progress. Many of these lines are his. James Earl Scott Cummins, the late. It's called Serenity on a Cell. He was in prison, so cell wall could mean a couple of different things. Serenity on a cell wall. The truth is a watered down fantasy of commercial goodwill that lingers like a thread of creosote smoke in the air of deceit, incense and asthma, sweetness so breathtaking it stops us breathing, bumper stickered, worn slogans on a tee, content in what I refuse to accept as truth, I will maintain as a moral the fibrous state of confession, not in a religious sense, but for the sake of songwriting. I am green at the truth. This green may mean fresh, or this green may mean rotted. Green are these walls, and that is incarceration. Green are my eyes. If you look into them, you will know what I know. There is no cure for a bad seed like me who refuses to preach to people I think are not real. That's it. Thank you.